Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. All right, tomorrow I'm going to be presenting AI for the game of Scrabble. There's a bunch of new ideas in there, some AI and some generalization to some concepts in NLP, natural language processing. And please pray for me to network with the right people and make strides in my career pivot by singing along with me, gesturing at your screen, and leaving a dislike on this video. Now, do I believe in the God of dislikes? I'm often here praying, and even when I'm not recording, I'm often singing the Peter dislike jingle as a prayer. Do I believe in the God of dislikes? Not necessarily. The reason I pray to the God of dislikes is because it has worked so well for me. And I would hate to miss out on praying to the God of dislikes only to be disappointed later on, right? So, for example, you guys saw last week, I was at a speed dating event and I prayed to the God of dislikes over and over and over again here on YouTube and also off camera, and it went well, right? Had it not gone well, I still wouldn't have regretted praying to it. After all, I've been to other speed dating events, usually back home in the United States, and most of them don't go very well, right? But it takes me 30 seconds to pray, and I like singing anyway. And it's a very small cost, right? Compared to if I didn't pray to the God of dislikes and I got the same result, right? No result at the speed dating event. I would have always wondered, what if I had just prayed to the God of dislikes, right? It's called Pascal's wager, if you're curious. It's the same reason some people go to church on Sunday. It's the same reason. I hope I'm still being recorded. I was working at a tutoring center, and we had just come up to a Christmas holiday, and I asked my student if he believed in Santa Claus. I think my student was about 8 years old, and he says not necessarily believe in it, just in case, right? And so even my student understood Pascal's wager, right? And it's the same attitude I hold toward praying to the God of dislikes. And plus, it has worked so many times that I'd be hard pressed to be fully. I hope I'm still okay. I hope I'm still connected. But the God of dislikes has answered so many prayers. Last week, when I couldn't find my passport, I kept praying to the God of dislikes. I went out to see a solar eclipse in 2024. It was cloudy. I prayed to the God of dislikes. The clouds disappeared. At various of social events, at job interviews. Um, One thing I've noticed is that here in Taiwan, almost everything can be. Oh, I can't tell you how many times in the U.S. people get fixated in a certain way, right? So, for example, I'm just about to go to. I hope I'm still connected. I hope I'm still connected. But I'm just about to go to a job interview. And one of my biggest frustrations is that I might like the core aspects of my job, right? But there's something surrounding the job that I don't like. Usually it's the facilities, the campus either has a very long commute or doesn't have good facilities, too hot, too cold, the room temperature, or doesn't have a good place to sit down and eat. I struggle with binge eating and other eating disorders. And sometimes the facilities of a campus that I'm working at aggravate the problem. It's hard for me to explain. You have to be there and feel for it to feel it out, right? So job interviews are usually a good place for me to find out about if that's going to be a problem. right? I can't really tell you what about a facility causes binge eating. Right? It's usually hard to explain, right? It's one of those things I just have to go there and find out, right? And unfortunately, if it's back home in the United States, most people are not very amenable to suggestions, right? Hey, we should have this and that, right, to make it more comfortable for our employees, right? Here in Taiwan, almost everything is at least discussable, right? If not necessarily negotiable. Back home in the U.S., people will think you have three heads if you say, you're. I love the aspects of the work, but the campus aggravates my eating disorder, right? You can't really say that. Here in Taiwan, at least you can talk about it, right? Maybe they might not be able to fix things overnight, but you can get the ball rolling in that direction at least, right? That's my feel for it. Um, People in the U.S. they know what they do, right? Some people are really good professors, but outside of that, they got an IQ of 0 outside of everything that they do for their work, right? Leave a comment if you've ever run into somebody like that, right? I guarantee there's a lot of people like that, right? I remember when we first went into quarantine, I was living in Seattle. Seattle has a lot of software startups and uh, obviously Microsoft is there, Boeing is there. And I heard on the news that a lot of people didn't know how to cook for themselves. They could write the number one operating system in the world. They could design planes, rockets, but they didn't know how to cook. Right? That's America in a nutshell. People are narrowly intelligent, right? Here in Taiwan, maybe people don't know how to write the number one operating system or flight of controller, but they know almost everything, right? Go to a coffee shop in the U.S. If the internet is down, good luck getting anybody who knows how to reset the router. Here in Taiwan, maybe the person you ask might not know how to reset the router, but they're willing to find out at least. Right here in Taiwan, we're constantly learning, and that applies to people of all ages, by the way. Right, and so I think even if you know nothing, if you're willing to learn everything, I think you got an edge over somebody who's the other way around, who thinks they know everything and is willing to learn nothing, right? I really think the willingness to learn should be the better metric of one's intelligence, by the way. And unfortunately, America has an IQ of 0 when it comes to willingness to expand their knowledge, it seems. And I work with a lot of those people. I work with really narrowly intelligent professors who are willing to learn nothing else outside of that scope. You go one molecule away from that scope, poof, the dumbest people in the world, right? I know a lot of people like that, by the way. I have a funny story. I was at a can't remember what department store it was, but I had gone to buy something, and when the cash register opened, I noticed that they had the cashier had a $2 bill, and I wanted to exchange for it. And I think the change, when I went to buy something, the change was like five something, and I was like, "Oh, can I get that $2 bill, by the way?" And the cashier literally did not know how to count the change. She knew how to pull out a $5 bill, but she didn't know how to make change with the $2 bill. And this is a cashier. She's just watching in front of her computer. Okay, get this amount, this bill, and that coin, and whatever. I don't know what it shows on their computer nowadays, but apparently they've been dumbed down to the point that the computer literally has to tell how to make change. Right? It's really funny. All right. Anyway, pray for my continued networking here because I can't deal with those dumb Americans anymore. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter